women for men and all that kind of thing. And the reason that that happens is because the energy between the couple's been dissipated. So it's just fantastic that that doesn't have to happen, that there's a way to restore that attraction and chemistry and that incredible magnetism so that once again, the reason for their coming together is still there.
Well, and I would think that this practice also creates good communication, gives you some skills, tools, knowledge, so that the man and woman can communicate with one another to talk about the energy, because it's very hard to put a label on our particular energy.
Right.
Good. Now, I'll ask you, Patricia, menopause is now being talked about now on TV and radio, etc. How does a woman going through the change, how does that affect her sexual energy?
Well, if you practice, there's another system that I have called rejuvenation exercises. If you practice that, and if you really practice what we teach in here, you don't have to have that experience. You don't have to have any of those negative experiences at all. I've never had any of those negative experiences that people describe in the change.
So I guess to summarize what you're saying is that if you practice your female sexual alchemy methods, it helps to go through a natural, more smoother transition through menopause.
Yeah, you don't have to have any depression. You don't have to have any kind of negative physical symptoms at all. I've never had any of those physical symptoms whatsoever.
Okay. Dr. Cordona, you call your school the Cosmic Mystery School. Can you define how you use the word cosmic?
Yes, cosmic, essentially, it acknowledges and describes that connection that everything has. The things under the sea, the things on the planet, with all of the celestial bodies that rotate around the sun, etc. So everything is connected. The ancients knew that. The ancients in India, China, Mexico, they all understood that everything was connected either magnetically or through some type of energy. Even modern scientists today understand that there is a connection, and they often refer to it as non-locality in physics. Yeah. Einstein, unfortunately, went to his grave looking for the theory of everything, the one unifying theory.
Sure.
But what's interesting is that the ancients understood that there was a connection, and that we are part of that connection. So that once we are able to connect with our subconscious, our sensitivities to the energy within our body, we become part of that connection. And in fact, in some ways, we're the missing link, between the heavens, and the earth. And so part of what we teach is how to restore that connection as well.
Well, our personal energy, to restore our personal energy, has to come from outside of us.
Yes.
And so if I understand you correctly, it's through the cosmic energy that our individual energy gets stronger or rejuvenated.
Yes, exactly. And it may be that part of our the aging process, etc., is that we're losing that connection with the cosmic energy.
Now, you're a physician. How do your colleagues know about your sexual alchemy work, and how do they react to it?
I'm sure if they were to Google me, they'd find out about it. But in normal the medical practice, it's not discussed. I think most of the physicians, well, when I entered medicine, I think there were probably no physicians that I knew of who at least understood energy medicine. But fortunately, there are more today. But I think it'd be quite a stretch for most physicians to understand the idea of sexual alchemy, and that we can actually heal ourselves through the sexual energy. So no, I really don't discuss it too much with them.
And then, Patricia, what about your colleagues? I mean, you're an advanced nurse. How do your colleagues know about your work? Or
the women who find out about female sex magic are fascinated. It's a fascinating subject for women because it restores that love relationship, and women have a deep understanding somewhere that something's missing. They don't understand what it is exactly, but as soon as they see that beautiful rose see that beautiful pink energy that's in there, they relate to it, and they are so inquisitive about it. They're fascinated.
Do you find that men and women react to sexual alchemy differently?
It's such an individual thing. I couldn't say it was just men and women. Well, women certainly are looking for that love connection. Absolutely. Men are happy to restore the chemistry. So I guess maybe a little bit of difference there. But it's
one of my favorite books is Erich Fromm's Art of Loving, and he talked about the psychosexual aspect of love. He said Freud, for Freud, everything was sexual. And Fromm took exception to Freud. He said psychosexual, and said it came from psycho, from the word psyche or soul.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Now, why don't you, Dr. Cordona, why don't you talk a little bit about what you teach in your workshops?
Well, we have a number of workshops that we have taught. I guess to summarize, most of what we teach really is about restoring that connection, with the universe. We do it through various physical exercises as well as the breathing exercises. For instance, I teach a flexibility system, and at first thought someone would say, well, why flexibility? What does that have to do with restoring your energy? Well, when the muscles are very tense and inflexible, the energy can't flow. So instead of just doing stretches, I teach people how to do a specific kind of movement that creates the flexibility. Together we have taught a number of seminars on the relationship, improving that through not only through the sexual alchemy, but also just cleaning up some of the negative energies within our bodies, which ultimately probably causes the psychological issues that a lot of couples have. More recently, we had a seminar for a group of martial artists that we taught ways of increasing the internal power. Now, our internal energies can be used for a number of things. I mean, we can increase our mental capacities, our longevity, but we can also use it to increase strength. So in that context, we taught some physical exercises to help them increase their internal power for the martial arts.
Okay, let me ask you, Patricia, now the breath, virtually every art, every discipline, the breath plays an important role.
Right.
Does breathing play a role in sexual alchemy?
Absolutely. It's part of the magic that occurs between the man and woman when they're actually in the process of making love with each other, that working with their breath together is incredibly important.
Good. And if you had one tip, one breathing tip for the audience, what would that be?
Don't hold your breath.
Okay.
Don't hold your breath. Breathe together. That'd be what I'd say.
Yeah. And now, during your workshops, do you have any exercises for the participants?
Absolutely. And that's a basic part of the female sex magic system, is restoring the energy in the woman's body too, because people get really out of touch with themselves and their physicality. You can work on your higher spiritual processes, and in some cultures there's an ignoring of the female form or the male form. You're just supposed to forget about it, but that's not what this is about. This is the idea that we can maintain the beauty that we came in here to be, maintain the love relationship and that intense sexual energy together, and restore our physical form. So absolutely, there's exercises that we teach people to do to try to help restore that.
And how much time does someone have to devote to performing these exercises?
Anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes a day.
Okay.
Now,
and
that doesn't include sex.
Yeah.
I was talking about the exercises.
Okay. Well, and let me ask Dr. Cordona, should the man and woman do the exercises together? Is there a better time to do the exercises, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. In Male Potency Secrets, those exercises are for the man to do by himself, and about 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. The exercises that the men and women will do together is part of the sexual alchemy, and those are more some of the advanced exercises that we would teach in a seminar or privately.
Now, are you